So here we're going to learn how to make a simple C# web page. When you first open Visual Studio, this is the page you see. So I'm going to click on File, New, Project. I'm going to click on Visual C# Web, and I'm going to create a empty web application. Notice that for those of you who like to carry your projects on thumb drive, you should now click on Browse and browse to your thumb drive, and then create a folder for you here so you can save your websites on a thumb drive, so you can carry from home to school or any computer you want to carry. So I am going to create mine on a C drive, and I'm happy with it. I'm going to name it I'm going to click OK. So here on the side you have a Solution Explorer. Right now you have a website without any page whatsoever. So let's create a web page. I'm going to right click on my project, add new item. I'm going to add a web form. Notice that you can add a HTML page, but that will be static only. We do not want that. We want a web form. And I'm going to name it index.aspx. Click on Add. Now if you notice right here on your Solution Explorer, you have your index page. Your index page is made out of 3 files. This is the file where most of your HTML will be, and this is the file where your C# code will be. For now, do not worry about the designer. So I'm gonna close the designer. So for now we're just worried about index.aspx and index.aspx.cs. That's the C# code. Now Visual Studio comes with a testing web server, so you do not need to install a web server in order to test this. All you have to do is go to Debug and start without debugging. If you bring your Explorer, and it's going to go to localhost. When I see localhost here, I know that this and also this port here, I know that this comes from a web server, a testing web server from Visual Studio. And when I see index.aspx, I know it's my page. Notice there's nothing here. This is an empty web page. Why? We haven't done anything yet. So I'm going to close it for now. So going to my index.aspx, I can do something. I can create something right here. So right here inside this div, I'm going to create a header 1, and I'm going to put hello world. Now if I run this, debug, start without debugging, I have a hello world display right here. Cool? Yes, that's cool. However, not cool enough. We want this code here to come from the C# code and not from the index and not from a HTML code. So for that, I'm going to create a div right here. I'm going to give it an ID. The ID is going to be div_test. And very important, do not forget that, run at server. So make sure you have this code exactly the way it is right now. It's going to be very important once we start developing the C# code for this. So basically, let's go over what this means here. So basically what this means, you have a division, a div area on your page. The ID of this div is div test, and when you say run at server, it allows the back codes, the C# codes, to change this page. So this is very important, okay? So I'm gonna go to my index.aspx.cs page. Remember, if you come here on the right side, I told you before, the index.aspx page is made out of 3 files: the index.aspx, index.aspx.cs, which is your C# code, and this, don't worry about it now. So let's go now to our index.aspx code. So whenever your page first loads, it calls this function, this method. So we're going to take advantage of that. So whenever it loads, we're going to tell this page to change this div that we previously created on the ASPX page. Okay? So let's do this. The way you do that is by the ID that you named. So the ID we created, if you remember, was div test. And once you use the dot notation, I'm going to put dot, and I want to change the inner HTML of the page. And the inner HTML of the page, I want it to be hi from C#. Now notice that now we're using a C# code to change your front end page. So let's test it. Debug, start without debugging. Now remember, this was the code we changed on the ASPX page, and this code, this message, is coming from the C# code. Now eventually you're gonna have a lot of pages right here and a lot of settings, and this is how it creates a simple C# website, web page.